You know, it was about 98 degrees in the shade when I pulled up in front of the Grant County Sheriff's Office in Moses Lake, Washington. Now, if you've never been to Moses Lake, Washington, it's officially in the middle of nowhere. And I had been hired by the Criminal Justice Training Commission to teach a course in influencing skills. And the students in my classes were county sheriffs, corrections officers, city cops, small town cops, in other words, men with guns. And they weren't all that happy to see me, quite frankly. And they sat in the back of the room with their arms folded up like this, and they said, "Who is this fluffy woman who's going to come here and teach us some touchy-feely communication skills?" Well, luckily, by the end of the day, they unwound their arms, and they were interacting with each other and talking about influencing. Because, you know, when they got there, many of them said, "Hey, we don't have any problem influencing. We have tasers." So at the end of the first day of the class, a gentleman came up to me, Sergeant Mark Bielis, and he whispered, "I have a problem." And of course, he was whispering because he didn't want anybody else to see him talking to me. And I said, "Well, what's going on?" And he said, "Well, I just got promoted. I'm a new sergeant, and 3 weeks ago, I was working alongside the guys on my squad, and now I'm their boss." Okay, some of you probably can relate to this. Yes, a common thing. Yesterday you were a peer. Today, now you're the supervisor, the boss, or the manager. And I said, "Well, what's going on?" And he said, "Well, I've got this really good friend on my squad. His name is Greg, and we've been friends for 15 years. We're fishing buddies. He knows my kids, and he won't wear his vest." So I've done a lot of work with law enforcement professionals, and they're very tolerant of me, and I get to ask the new girl questions all the time. And I said, "You mean the ballistic vest, the one that keeps the bullets out?" And he said, "Yeah, that's the one." Now I want to step out of the story for a minute because I want to mention that right now, Sergeant Bielis has two kinds of power he can use to make this guy wear his vest. He has position power, and he has personal power. So he's this guy's boss, right? He can make him wear the vest. But why isn't he doing it? Because he has a friendship, right? He cares about the relationship, and he doesn't want to wreck the relationship just because now he's got this new job and he's the boss. So I said to him, "Well, tell me what you've done so far." He said, "Well, I talked to him, I asked him why he's not wearing the vest. He says it's too hot and it's uncomfortable, and he doesn't like it, and he's not wearing it." And I said, "Oh," and he said, "Yeah, and everybody knows. I mean, they go up and poke him in the back, and they can feel that he doesn't have the vest on. So they know he's not wearing it." And I said, "Well, do you have anybody, I mean, you guys have been at this a long time. Do you have anyone on your squad who's new, who might be watching all of this going on?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, we've got 4 new guys on our squad." I said, "Okay." And I said, "Well, what else have you tried?" He said, "Well, I tried to go through his girlfriend. You know, in the name of safety, preserving his life, things like that." And I said, "Well, how'd that work?" And he said, "Oh, no, that was bad. That didn't work." And so for the rest of the time, the next day, what we did was we worked with Mark on the situation with his friend, and we worked to devise a couple of different things for him. One was how to prepare a successful influencing request that placed the relationship at the center, how to prepare a successful, respectful confrontation so that it didn't wreck the relationship if he had to confront him about what he wanted him to change. So about 4 days after the class, he called me up on the phone. He said, "Oh my gosh, it worked. I can't believe it." Of course, I said, "Really? Well, tell me about this." And he said, "Well, he didn't get mad, and we didn't have a fight, and there was no conflict, and everything's great. I cannot tell you how relieved I am that I was able to do this." And the thing that's important to note about this, the story isn't about the bulletproof vest and things like that, but that relationships, and especially strong relationships, are at the core, are at the foundation of your success in terms of leadership, in terms of work, and I would also say in terms of life.